KDK Law got your back. Wake Up Woodward and Woodward Sports got your back. Chat family, I'm hoping y'all have ours. But right now, those Detroit Pistons, man, it's time for the victory shades because they have been doing their thing.
That's a team.
They have been. That's a team. Since an 0-4 start, the Detroit Pistons have played 500 basketball.
Beautiful.
Come on, man, it's beautiful. They are back in solidly in playoff positioning. The teams that are behind them, I believe, are going to stay behind them the rest of the season. I do believe the Pistons are going to make the play, and this has to be the new expectation for those Detroit Pistons. 117-114 win over the Lakers. The Lakers were 16-12 before that game. And you know what? There were some things that I just loved about that one. Since we don't have our Woodward Pistons segment tomorrow, we're going to talk about them today, and they've been winning as well. Just to tee something up here, playoff-wise, they are in 10th spot for that last play-in spot, but they're tied with the Chicago Bulls at 13-17. Just ahead of them, 2 games ahead of them, Atlanta and Indiana tied for the 7th and 8th spot, and then the 6th spot, the Miami Heat at 14-13, who the Pistons, they did beat more recently. So they're just 2.5 games outside of an actual playoff spot, and you've gotten people like Kevin Durant saying that Cade Cunningham needs to be an all-star this year. He has earned it. You saw him duel out there, and against the Lakers, this was funny, man. Right? So earlier in the day, we get the news that, Bronny James is getting called up. Wait, are you serious? Y'all calling up your victory cigar?
Yeah.
Seriously? That's how you thought this was going down? And they brought all the big dogs out. Everybody was healthy for this one against the Pistons. But what did the Pistons do? We were in our bad boys jerseys. That's what we're going to do. And better than we did last year, we're actually going to win in them. On the road, get the Lakers out of here. You're done. We had to wear the all black today for the Lakers. Get them out of here. Shout out to the rookie Ron Holland as well. Yep. What a game for him. But we're going to continue to shout out Cade Cunningham. The stats for Cade Cunningham, 20 points, 10 assists, 5 rebounds on the night. I know some people were talking about the shooting numbers for Cade. I don't think people understand. That doesn't matter. He is a volume score. And when you factor in the fact that there were 5 shots from behind the arc, the true shooting actually is pretty good for Cade Cunningham. And the overall game score for Cade Cunningham is pretty good as well. And he was able to play defense and go toe-to-toe when it mattered with LeBron James. Everybody is looking at the crossover on Austin Reeves and then the finish with the right hand over LeBron James at the rim. It was just beauty, man. And I definitely want to be able to shout out the rest of the players on here who performed. That is not Tobias Harris. That's
skip right over that.
Jaden Ivey's 18 points, 8 of 15, another game back. Another difference he's made. He and Cade Cunningham in that backcourt, it's looking really, really good. That fire and ice that we thought it could be or that it was billed to be, it is starting to really look more and more consistently that. And how can you argue with the results? Tim Hardaway had a game as well. Simone Fontecchio.
Yeah, he showed up.
4 for the field. 2 of 2 from behind the arc. 13 points, 2 rebounds. Get that man to more charity events. Whatever, please, because he's been playing much better since the Kroger event, and he looked happy.
Yeah.
He was there with those families just happy. And it was like, you know what? Get that man to more whatever. He's a family dude. And it was interesting hearing him talk about his family, then being around those other families. And now he's had a couple nice games. Shout out to you, Fontecchio. Ron Holland, 5 of 7 from the field. Bright lights at Tinseltown, 10 points, 4 rebounds. And then Malik Beasley, 21 points, 5 rebounds. Asar Thompson, 8 points, 5 rebounds. The bench looked really good, and Isaiah Stewart is not here. Paul Reed as well, stuffed the stat sheet as it relates to like assists, rebounds, steals, and things of that nature. Just wanted to be able to make sure we shouted out this team because they're right now, in my opinion, putting together a pretty special stretch when you're talking about 500 basketball to start the season. And you get the Lakers taken care of already to start the season. It's beautiful, man.
This is how you make up for the home loss to Utah. You go to Phoenix, you go to Los Angeles, and you take both of those games. You take both of those games, you face some of the best to have ever done it, who are not in their primes, don't get me wrong, but guys like KD and LeBron can still play. They're putting up numbers, and the Pistons come to town and hand both of those teams some L's. You love to see it. If I want to be nitpicky about one thing, you know that opening video that they showed with like the Pistons coming out of the tunnel after the win? The man who was doing the
way
most
that Cade's
talking
playing on a
was
team
Jalen
that
Duren,
has
and I'm like,
holes in it that are obvious.
they'd win because of you, bud. But that's okay. That's
I
I'll let
don't
that
see-
slide. I think the thing. There's
I
two
don't see
things
enough
that stand
guards
out to
in the
me.
East
One,
that
the
are
bench
playing
played the
better than
best
him, and I think it's
bench
just that
game they
simple.
played all
Like,
season.
I mean, you
No
guys have
question
said it
about it.
enough.
As you
Like,
mentioned,
I
welcome
don't
to the
need to
season,
reiterate
Simone
anything. I think
Fontecchio.
he's just
We
playing out
missed
of
you.
his
We
mind
could
right
use
now.
you now. We
And I
got
can't
you
wait to see
against
where he
the
goes with a
Los
better team
Angeles
around him. Like,
Lakers.
if they were to
Malik
bring in,
Beasley
Jimmy
continue
Butler,
to do
Brandon
what he
Ingram,
does
or
best, which is
Zach
just
LaVine, like, that
instant
really would
offense off
take
the
him to
bench.
another level.
One of the
I think
best
league would
players
actually
at
start to
doing
notice
that in
how
the entire
good Cade
bleeping
Cunningham
NBA
is.
this season.
And
All this
Kavasi
guy
Chase
does
to
is
round
make
this out.
threes and make big
yesterday
shots,
on
and
the
he's been
Woodward,
huge
you
for
rather,
Cade Cunningham.
I said I'd
And then
rather
you look
Cade
at Ron
make All-Star
Holland and
games
Asar,
than,
Paul
Dan
Reed.
Campbell win Coach of
Awesome
the Year in the
performances
NFL,
by
so
all of them.
everyone
And one thing
knows,
I would like to
comments from
retract
yesterday.
and stick.
You know,
Listen
they're out
up.
again today, and
You can call me
hopefully
flip-flop
in the Bay
flannel
Area.
all you want.
Hey, you know what?
I'm cool with
I think
Jaden
that's
Ivey
the
being in the
word.
starting
That's it,
lineup.
brothers?
I lied.
Oh, yeah.
I changed. You know, I didn't lie. I changed my mind.
Join me, man.
I changed my mind.
Definitely make sure
You
you
were the
go
one at the
ahead
end that
and
pushed back
smash
on me a
that
little
like
bit, and
button
even I was like,
for the
can't argue
Woo
that
Crew.
point.
I'm
Jaden
telling
Ivey
you
could be in the
guys,
starting
it
lineup. He
goes
played
a
great.
long,
He played great. He was
long way for
a lot
us, and
more
it's something
on a
that we
night where
appreciate
Cade
greatly.
wasn't
And
super
make sure you stay
efficient
tapped in with the
shooting
rest
the
of network as
basketball.
well. Shout
Jaden
out to our
Ivey
brother, Matt.
was.
Yep.
So you love to see
And
it.
you know what, though? I have to say something, too, because I know we've pondered a couple things as it relates to JB Bickerstaff and the lineups and such. And the more and more I look at what he's doing, the more and more I'm like, you know what? He's just a coach's coach. He's a coach's coach. The way that the lineups are predicated right now is this. If Tobias and Tim Hardaway are going to give you something, it's going to be in the first quarter. You're going to know right away. You're going to know right away.
That's a fact.
That's the truth. And you can go to the bench if it's Malik Beasley. Then, hey, look, at halftime, you could talk to these guys, get together, whatever you got to get together. You're going to know right away what's going on. And if it's not working, it's not working. And what they've been able to do is go to that bench a lot more. Imagine as guys like Asar Thompson get more and more into game shape. Don't judge him right now really on anything, because when he gets into game shape, think about what he'll be able to use his speed and athleticism for then. Talk about Ron Holland, who's still a rookie, but we see him consistently going out there now in the bright lights. He had some good moments in the Madison Square. He had good moments out at the Boston Garden. And he had good moments now out in LA. I don't know what they call their arena nowadays.
Crypto, I think.
Crypto.com arena.
Krypton.
It's
But
the staples.
But think about it. This is what he's starting to put together now as a rookie. And I can tell that playing in the G League helped him.
Yeah.
And now he's starting to get more comfortable. As this team continues down this path, man, I do believe that this squad has an opportunity to potentially lock in something even higher than just this playing. They're 500 right now, and they're beating good teams. They're playing with good teams. They are competing. The one that I thought I was disappointed in, that we were like, go out there and just drub the Utah Jazz. Utah Jazz had all their horses for that game.
Yeah.
All of them, from Markkanen all the way down to John Collins. And so they weren't missing at all. And I believe the Pistons felt like that was a disappointment. You look at how they've bounced back now against teams with winning records, teams that are going to go to the playoffs, teams who have players that are going to lead in all-star voting.
Bad. I'm going to be nice. Bad. Malik Beasley is just the veteran you need off the bench. And you also have to shout out Cade Cunningham, too. Did you know that in the month of December, he is averaging 11.4 assists per game, has another double-double, another 10 assist game, just another way that you can contribute when you're not shooting the ball that great. Obviously, defensively, he's taken a big leap this season. This is just, I'm proud of this team. They could have let that loss against Utah go into this West Coast trip and they kind of crater their season, but no, they didn't. They got it right back on course. You love to see it.
And you know what? We got to shout out Cade Cunningham. I was saving the best for last. All-star that man.
Yes,
period.
sir.
There's no more conversation. And it's crazy to see the outside narrative now. The national people saying, oh man, Cade is taking a leap. Cade already took the lead.
Exactly.
He was already good. It's on y'all that he didn't win Rookie of the Year. That's y'all. Y'all gonna have to deal with that, especially as he continues to launch. You talking about he lost a whole year and he's already ahead of the curve. And this guy said, you know what? No, I want to be here in Detroit. I want to sign this contract. I already knew I was gonna do it. This is what he's saying. And I know it's people's. His people, some of his peoples are from around the way, from Toledo and such.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, you know what? Good on Cade Cunningham, but we got to shout him out for this as well. NBA's Eastern Conference Player of the Week and Western Conference Player of the Week belong to a Detroit Piston, and who should be a Detroit Piston. Cade Cunningham wins it for the East. Victor Wembanyama wins it in the West. Cade Cunningham put up some dummy stats, man, and it's becoming the norm. When you hear the stats, you realize, oh, that's just the norm. And honestly, we're used to the triple doubles. It says Cade Cunningham led the Pistons to a 2-1 week with averages of 27 points on 49% field goal, 41% from three, 5.3 rebounds a game, 12.7 assists, 2.3 blocks, 1.0 steals. Oh, there's that 3+ stocks alert.
Yep.
Steals plus blocks for Cade Cunningham. And guess what? 39 flipping minutes a game. The usage is through the roof. And, balling. It says the number 1 overall pick in the 2021 NBA draft holds season averages of 24 points, 7.1 rebounds, 9.7 assists, and is shooting 45% from the field and 38.5% from three during this season, man. His 9.7 assists ranks 3rd in the NBA and is the highest average by a Piston period, since one Isaiah Thomas, who averaged 10 points, 10 assists a game in 86-87. He says Cunningham is currently orchestrating the 18th season in NBA history of at least 23 points, 9 assists, 7 rebounds per game, and is only one of 10 players in NBA history to hold career averages of 26 and 5. My man is balling. He deserves the time to be able to read out exactly what he's doing, and we're seeing them win because of it. And this is a new team. That's why I'm going to continue to highlight 500 records since starting 0-4. That's crazy. And this is a new squad. You usually say, hey, you got to have – they say usually it's a half a season before they get the offensive cohesion. They don't even have the offensive cohesion. This is just Cade Cunningham going absolute just demon time mode, and Malik Beasley saying, hey, oh, that's what we're doing? I can do that too. And they're just going out there, and you're getting these contributions from other people nightly, and this is what you have. Imagine when everything starts to click. Shout out to JB Bickerstaff, and shout out to Trajan Langdon as well, who I know is there's been some news. The Pistons, they are going to try to position themselves to be a team that can be a third wheel in some of these trades that are going down at the trade deadline. So it's going to be interesting to see what goes down, because they want draft picks. That gives them their flexibility back, because the Knicks still own their draft pick, the control of it. And if the Pistons make the playoffs, well, that draft pick goes to the Knicks. So the Pistons, it'd behoove them to be able to try and get some draft capital in this draft, because even if it's not one of those first 5 picks, what if you come away with another player that's cut from the same cloth of a Ron Holland or Bobby Klintman, who also was available last night?
You never. Hey,
Yes,
we might
a lot of good news for the Pistons.
A lot of good news for the Pistons, and just one more tidbit on Cade Cunningham's numbers. Now tied for 2nd in the entire bleeping NBA in assists per game. And who is he tied with? Nikola Jokic. That is some pretty damn good company. And the only player above Cade Cunningham in assists per game is Trae Young. And with all due respect to Trae Young, I'd take Cade Cunningham 100 times out of 100 over.
Oh, yeah.
And trust me, I think Trae Young's a good player and gets a little bit overhated sometimes. But Cade Cunningham projects to be much better, in my opinion.
And LeBron James on Cade Cunningham, you can't play him one-on-one with a smaller guard. It's just too big.
Man, I mean, LeBron knows a thing or two about ball. So if he's him, LeBron, Kevin Durant being complimentary of Cade Cunningham, I mean, those are 2 of the best players to ever do it. 2 of certainly the best of this generation, and they're giving Cade Cunningham their props after Cade Cunningham comes into their house and beats them. That's porn. That's literally porn. Shout out Lily Phillips again.
KG, talk to me about these Detroit Pistons. Shout out to Summer 2 just walked in, man.
Yeah, like K, I mean, what more can you say about this kid at this point? He is literally doing everything for this team. So the national media, they can't be one of those players to be rookie of the year. They end up giving it to Scotty Barnes of all people. But, you know, it is what it is. No slight to him. He is a good player. But just the way they play defense, man, is what I'm really just impressed with. When they asked J.J. Redick, you know, in the post-game press conference, what do you think went wrong tonight? And, you know, what areas do you feel like the Pistons got the better of you? And he said that they got blitzed defensively, and the way Pistons were able to cause turnovers just created a lot of problems for them, man. So the way JB Bickerstaff has transformed this defense, now they're not like a top 10 defense, don't get me wrong, but just the improvement that we've had from previous iterations of the Pistons, I think it goes a long way into the future of what they're going to be able to do. And now that you're starting to get more offensive output from people on your bench, you know, some of your starters are starting to step up a little bit more. I feel like the Pistons can compete with anybody at this point, and they continue to prove that night in and night out, man. So shout out to the boys, man. They working hard.
Hey, shout out to them, man. Shout out to the Pistons, and that's why I'm glad that we took the time to be able to shout out JB Bickerstaff, because I'm going to continue to say he's a coach's coach. And I believe that he's going to have special accomplishments here in Detroit with the way that he handles business and with the way that the team has responded. This team has responded already. You added really one vet that's consistent, a couple other vets that are going to give you what we got out of Bogey and Alec Burks effectively with Tobias Harris and Tim Hardaway. That's just the truth. They're going to give us maybe sometimes less output with Tobias Harris over what we got with Bogey. I would have to say a little bit less, but there's a defensive effort that I guess Tobias brings us a little bit better. But,
better than Bogey.
But nonetheless, you add really just a Malik Beasley, Ron Holland, and hoping that your young players took a certain step forward. Not all of the young players took a step forward.
No.
That's what makes this so impressive of what Cade Cunningham is doing. All you wanted to see is the wins, and now you have a coach that's proving it wasn't about Cade Cunningham. It was about, could we put everybody else around him in the right positions, because we still don't got the shooters around him that are consistently going out there and saying, you know what, we're going to be consistently the best team at shooting a three ball. We've seen them go out there and get blitzed by other squads that look like that on a night-to-night basis. And so it's encouraging at this early, knowing that the beginning of this season, that especially at first 10 games, was a gauntlet. And this team sits 4 games under 500. They sit in a postseason spot. They sit 2.5 games outside of 6th place right now.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
It seemed like they starting to hit their stride.
Yep. And Cade knows he's him.
Oh, yeah.
I think he realizes, wait, oh, no one can guard me now?
Yeah.
Oh, KD is saying no one can guard me? Oh, LeBron is saying nobody can guard me? Oh, okay. Go out there and just do work. Shout out to Ashton, the trainer. Shout out to Ashton, the trainer.
No, Ashton putting the work in, because the way Cade uses his body, you know, in certain situations in the low post and everything, his ability to score in the low post this year has been crazy, man. He's using that strength, man. So shout out to Ashton. Whatever you doing, it's working, big bro.
He's got so much control over what happens over the game. He's got so much impact, and he knows. He's learning, I think, as he gets better players around him to use those players and to know that he can find Malik Beasley behind the three-point line, and Malik Beasley is actually going to knock it down. That's big for a guy like Cade Cunningham, a high-usage player, a guy who is more of like the Luka Doncic archetype in terms of usage rate. It's been impressive to see. His basketball IQ is off the charts, and he's just growing so much, both as a player with his skill set and with just his basketball IQ, his understanding of the game, and that is coaching in a lot of ways. That's JB Bickerstaff.
His efficiency too. The way he's been able to raise his shooting numbers this year is absolutely great too.
Despite the usage not going down, that's the crazy part. You can't afford to realistically, with the way that the team is currently constructed, without another solid facilitator, you can't afford to have his usage rate go down. So to see him get more efficient, that's what's crazy. And that's why Spo is like, anybody complaining about his turnovers are just crazy. Are there a couple that you would like, oh man, can't you cut those things out? But for every one of those, you guys have to understand that it's the same types of motions and instincts that he's utilizing to also get those 12 assists, 12.2 assists that he averaged during this NBA Eastern Conference Player of the Week status. That's the thing. He just plays the way that he plays. And that's when you understand that's a sign of a good player, that you could turn off the lights and he just shoot the way that he shoots, because the mechanics are what they are. And that's what I see out of Cade Cunningham. He's one of those guys that you can tell he's a gym rat, and you can tell that he is trained well, because all of the motions and all of the movements, they're in sync. They look very, very similar. Like, I know every single time, I don't know why defenders don't know it, but that kind of reverse pivot baseline dunk on Beasley.
Yeah.
I knew that move was coming, and he does it so well. Even the crossover on Austin Reeves, when you see it, it's what Cade does. The finish at the rim with the complete body control.
Yeah.
That type of stuff.
Against LeBron.
He used to be an under the rim player, though. That's the thing. A bigger kind of, but shorter. Then he just hit this growth spurt, and he never lost that footwork that he was trained at a younger age that made him so effective. And that's the thing. Like, he is one of those guys that he has this kind of hooper feel for it, but he was trained as a basketball player too. And as you're putting it all together with his ability to be a big game finisher and closer, that's where it's just like, yo, now you got a couple players around him that are responding nicely around him. And if they, in the next season or two, make the necessary kind of roster adjustment.
To the rim for a jam. The breakaway opportunity for the Pistons. They scored!
Right now.
No, they don't. But the Pistons having Cade Cunningham locked up, as long as he stays healthy, that's the first step in becoming a true contender. Speaking of contenders,
hey, let's get to it.
Jared Goff is on a heater. He played he played great against the Bears. He's been playing great as of lately. And the Woo Crew, we did another excerpt in the MVP ballot where we as a consensus gave our top 3. Is Jared Goff number 1? Is Jared Goff on the list? Where is Jared Goff? Coming up, we will find that out
just
for
really
sure.
quickly before
Yes.
I think you got this
Yes.
this one. Hey, shout out Ashton the trainer.
Yes.
I see you in the chats. Thank you for the support as always, man, from the start of this thing. Thank you for just always being around, brother. My guys, this is 100 while they sleep. We working. I see you, brother.
That's what's
Shout
up.
out. Appreciate that for sure. But we also appreciate Woodward and Maine and the pregame show as well. Woodward and Maine.